In this lesson, we will demonstrate how to approve an invoice. In SmartBuy, you will be prompted to approve invoices that are not associated with a purchase order. At York University, we commonly refer to these invoice payments as check requisitions. When a paper invoice is received by accounts payable, staff will input the invoice into the SmartBuy system, creating an electronic invoice document. This electronic document will route to a requisitioner to enter the accounting codes, and finally to the cost center approver, such as yourself. When an invoice is sent to your SmartBuy for approval, you will receive an email notification. From the Home Shop page, go to the Action Items panel on the left side of the screen. Look under the Approvals link and click on Invoices from your Unassigned Approvals menu. The invoice will be located within a folder for the particular cost center or cost centers being charged. Choose the invoice that you wish to approve by selecting the checkbox and assigning it to yourself using either the Assign hyperlink or selecting Assign from the Action drop-down menu and choosing Go. The invoice will be moved to the My Invoice Approvals folder. Click on the invoice number to open it. From here, you can review details of the invoice. In the General section, you can review the supplier information, payment terms, and the individuals who are processing the invoice. In the Remit Details section, you can review the remittance address and the anticipated payment method. In the Notes Attachments section, you can open a PDF of the supplier invoice. Under Accounting Codes, you can review the accounting details that have been input by the requisitioner. The line item details explain what product or service is being invoiced by the supplier. And at the bottom right, you will see the total amount of the invoice, including details about taxes and shipping and handling. While reviewing the electronic invoice document, it is important to verify that the details and amounts match those shown in the attached PDF. If the accounting information needs to be modified, you have the ability to edit the accounting information. Please note that you should only modify the cost center to another cost center value where you are also identified as a cost center approver. If this is not the case, you should contact Procurement Services for further assistance. At the top right of the summary page is the Action menu. If you are comfortable with the invoice, your most likely action is to select Approve Complete Step and click Go. Doing so will queue the invoice for payment to the supplier. There are alternative actions that you can take. You may return the invoice to the Shared Approval folder for another cost center approver to action. You can place the invoice on hold while you make inquiries of the supplier or you resolve billing issues. Placing the invoice on hold will leave the invoice in your approval inbox so that only you may undertake further action on the invoice. You can forward the invoice to another individual to action, but doing so will effectively delegate your approval responsibility to this individual. You can reject or cancel the invoice, but this option should not be taken lightly. By rejecting an invoice, the invoice can no longer be processed for payment. The reject action should only be used in instances where the invoice is not intended to ever be processed for payment. You can add a comment that can be sent to other SmartBuy users, which can be very useful for communicating between colleagues and gathering additional information on the invoice. You can add a note to the history for documentation purposes. If you require any assistance with this particular invoice, the AP clerk's name can be located in the Invoiced By field within the Other Information section. Once you have executed an option from the available actions, you will be returned to your invoice approval box. This concludes the lesson on approving an invoice. For further assistance, contact Procurement Services.